Welcome to episode 74. Avoidance hurts, especially if you avoid turning on closed captioning. You know, in light of my evolvement as described in episode 71, I can honestly say that episode 38 wasn't exactly honest. It wasn't an outright lie, but it was an episode wherein the truth was skirted in ways exactly as described within the episode. That's ironically funny, right? Internal joke. Yes, Pastor Paul. So, what brought on this reflection? Well, I was in a clubhouse practicing my pool game while listening to some music on a Sirius FM channel, and a song by an artist that I used to listen to came on. This person used to be one of my favorite artists, but I stopped listening to her music completely after what happened when I went to see her live at a concert she was headlining. It was a sort of bad experience that led me to saying, why would you want to go back to a place where you felt disrespected? The artist I'm talking about didn't actually do what upset me, but because she headlined the show that brought me there, I held her responsible. So I stopped listening to her music, period. I would change the channel if one of her songs came on, stop dancing if the DJ started playing one of her tunes, start talking over her music in a situation where I couldn't control what was being played. Internal joke. Man, you can be a bitch sometimes. In this instance, a song by her came on just as I was finishing up my practice. So I moved to grab the phone and shut down the music. But I couldn't help hearing the last few words of what she was singing before I cut her off. It was a song where she was like apologizing and saying she was wrong and sorry. And somehow it seemed like it was directed to me. So it got me thinking about what had happened at the concert and how I'd told a story to a buddy of mine recently. I had been so excited to go to the concert, and I left feeling so disappointed. It was one of those inexplicable coincidence situations that I've experienced in droves recently that make me question randomness. But while in other similar situations I've felt anger or was contemptuous, in that particular instance it was an occasion of joyous expectation turned into disheartenment, and for me it was a hurt of the heart. You know, Hurt of the Heart headlined episode 14, but is mentioned in quite a few episodes such as 22, 24, and 26. You could say it's one of the themes of my blog. So yes, and honestly, and definitely in episode 10, my blog reflects that I have experienced a broken heart. Yes, multiple times. Internal joke. Is that is that why you barely have any heart left? But I have also experienced a hurt of the heart many more times. Because as I've explained, a hurt of the heart doesn't always come from a broken heart. And such was the situation with what I experienced at that concert. But referring back, Jamaican of words, referring back to some of my past episodes, even though recycling is important and so is forgiveness, which is really a form of recycling, something that's recycled may be new, but is always different from the original. How do you make it better? So I thought back to how I've described how difficult it is to cure a hurt of the heart. And I thought perhaps in a way avoidance hurts you since you never want to be around that person or place or situation again. In other words, avoidance hurts because it curtails the possibility of not just atonement but also forgiveness and growth. If it's a place or a situation, you may never go back there. But if it's like a person, it's a chance meeting or reconnection. Well, coincidence or not, it felt like this artist had found a way to convey an apology. And that's always a start when it comes to assuaging a hurt of the heart. I resolved to listen to some of her new music to see if she was sincere and had found a way to do what I'll talk about in perhaps another blog episode. Internal joke. I thought this was the another episode. Internal joke. Delaying tactics. At the end of the day, maybe I'll end up listening to her music again. Maybe not. But the problem remains that assuaging is not curing, and I'm sorry that my avoidance hurts, but I just don't see me going back to any of her concerts. Like I brought up in episode 14, 20, and 60, you can forgive, but the hurt of the heart is not something you forget. Hmm, how do you make it better? Good question.